Hi everyone, I'm Marina, and today I'm going to give you a tour of Barcelona, the city of Gaudi. My husband and I, along with our 5 kids, are going on a 6,500-mile road trip across Europe. We are going to visit 30 of the most popular and most beautiful cities in Europe. Many of them are ranked among the most stunning destinations in the world. Over the course of this journey, we'll discover which city deserves to be called Europe's best city, which famous destination is the biggest disappointment, and which hidden gem travelers are overlooking. We'll share our honest opinions of every place we visit and rank them from 1 to 30 based on our personal experience. The first city we are exploring is Barcelona. Barcelona is Spain's flagship tourist city. What makes Barcelona one of the most visited cities in Europe is the unique architecture designed by Antoni Guadi. His designs have become symbols of Barcelona. Gaudi viewed architecture as a form of worship, declaring that his client was God. His faith and craftsmanship earned him the nickname God's Architect. In the middle of the city is Gaudi's most famous masterpiece, the Sagrada Família. The Sagrada Família is not just Barcelona's most famous landmark, it's one of the most extraordinary buildings ever created. Many architects, historians, and travelers consider it one of the greatest works of architecture in human history. The Sagrada Família is the most reviewed tourist attraction worldwide on TripAdvisor, ahead of landmarks like the Eiffel Tower and the Colosseum. Construction began in 1882, making it one of the longest-running building projects ever undertaken. More than 140 years later, work still continues and should be finished later this year in 2026. Every side tells a different story. The Sagrada Família has become a symbol not just of Barcelona, but of human creativity itself. On the east and west side of the basilica, there are 2 parks. These are popular observation areas, but they can feel overcrowded. I guess that's what you expect at one of the most popular attractions in the world. Running north of the church is Avenue de Gaudi. It's a pedestrian street that's lined with outdoor cafes, restaurants, ice cream shops, small plazas, and seating areas. The atmosphere is much calmer, and it has beautiful views of the Sagrada Família. The avenue is 1 kilometer long. It comes to an end at Sant Pau. Sant Pau was a former hospital that looks so beautiful, most people mistake it for a palace. The architect believed that patients would heal better in a place filled with natural light, gardens, art, and colorful architecture. It's about a 10 to 15-minute stroll from Sagrada Família to Sant Pau. This is often considered one of the most rewarding short walks in Barcelona. It gives you a very good sense of the unique architecture and local life in Barcelona. .5 kilometers away from the Sagrada Família, we have Passeig de Gràcia. It's Barcelona's luxury shopping mile, often compared to Fifth Avenue in New York City. There are also many high-end stores. It's even fun to do some window shopping. Passeig de Gràcia is also an outdoor museum of Gaudi architecture. The most famous is Casa Batlló. It's an apartment building that is described as a storybook that came to life and decided to become a house. Balcony railings shaped like masks, a wavy, colorful surface like an underwater scene with waves and coral. There are huge groups of people taking pictures of this beautiful building. The second is Casa Milà, another apartment building that doesn't look like it was built. It looks carved out of nature. Constant flowing curves, balconies made of twisted iron that look like seaweed or vines. While Gaudi is the star, the entire boulevard is lined with modernist and early 20th century buildings. Even ordinary apartment buildings look decorative and historic. It's a beautiful boulevard. 1 kilometer north of Passeig de Gràcia, we have Casa Vicens. Casa Vicens was Gaudi's first big residential project, the building that launched his architectural career, a colorful tile-covered villa that looks like a mix of a palace and a garden fantasy. This marks the start of his famous style. It was a private vacation home for a wealthy tile manufacturer. Only in recent years it has been restored and opened as a museum. .5 kilometers north of Casa Vicens is Park Güell. Park Güell is another imaginative creation of Gaudi. It has become one of the most distinctive urban parks in the world. It was first designed to be a luxury residential community that later became a city park. It feels less like a park and more like a giant work of art you can walk through. This is one of the most popular observation areas in the city, offering panoramic views over Barcelona. Being on a hillside, you can see all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. Gaudi hated straight lines. Instead, he based his designs on forms found in nature: trees, branches, honeycombs, shells, mountains, and bones. His creations have a fairy tale appearance and are some of the most unique in the world. Here is a quick highlight of Park Güell. Further up the mountain, about a 10-kilometer drive, we have the Temple of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, a church that looks almost as if a medieval castle and a cathedral were combined and then placed on top of a mountain. The church sits on Tibidabo, one of the highest points around Barcelona. The name Tibidabo comes from a Latin phrase meaning "I will give you," traditionally associated with the biblical story of the devil showing Jesus all the kingdoms of the world from a high mountain and offering them to him if he would bow down and worship him. Its architecture mixes Romanesque and Gothic influences, giving it a dramatic storybook appearance. It is often mistaken for a castle. At the summit stands the bronze statue of Jesus, visible from many parts of the city. There are several observation terraces with incredible views. You can see the entire city of Barcelona, the Mediterranean Sea, and the surrounding hills. Right next to the church is the historic Tibidabo amusement park, one of the oldest amusement parks in the world. It's very unusual to find a grand basilica and a vintage amusement park sharing the same mountaintop. Back to the city. At the south end of Passeig de Gràcia, about a 10-minute walk from Casa Batlló, we come to Plaça de Catalunya. It's a large central square with fountains, statues, trees, benches, and many pigeons. This is considered the city's true center because it connects the old city with the newer districts. There is a constant flow of people. Millions of visitors begin their walk through Barcelona from this exact spot. Two famous boulevards start here at the square, La Rambla and Avinguda Portal de l'Àngel. Avinguda Portal de l'Àngel is one of Barcelona's busiest and most famous shopping streets. It only spans 2 short city blocks. It connects the plaza to the edge of the Gothic Quarter. We see a lot of narrow alleyways and start to see old Barcelona buildings. La Rambla is one of the most famous streets in Barcelona. It was undergoing major renovations or some sort of construction, so we didn't get the full experience. Halfway down La Rambla is the Mercat de la Boqueria, commonly called La Boqueria, one of Europe's most famous food markets, packed with fruit stalls, tapas bars, fresh seafood, and lots of candy. This is one of the largest food markets in Europe. The east side of La Rambla borders the Gothic Quarter. It's a dense maze of narrow streets where much of the city still feels like it did in medieval times. Just off La Rambla, in the heart of the old city, is Plaça Reial, a small, elegant city square. Tall palm trees were added to give it a distinctly Mediterranean identity. It makes it feel more like a warm courtyard than a traditional European plaza. In the middle of the Gothic Quarter, we have the Barcelona Cathedral. It's a grand Gothic cathedral and one of the most impressive medieval buildings in Spain. In front of the cathedral is Plaza Nova. This is a place where you can see 2,000 years of history in one glance. The Roman gate towers and sections of the old Roman walls are right in the open. 1 minute from the square down a narrow alley is Pont del Bisbe. It is one of the most photographed spots in the Gothic Quarter, a narrow stone bridge suspended above a medieval alley, decorated with delicate Gothic carvings and connecting 2 historic-looking buildings. It looks like it has been there since the Middle Ages. However, it was added about 100 years ago. Either way, it's very beautiful. Here is a quick highlight of the Gothic Quarter. Just outside the old city, we have Arc de Triomphe. The Arc was built in 1888 as the main entrance to the Barcelona Universal Exposition that helped introduce Barcelona to the world as a modern city. Walking through it leads toward Parc de la Ciutadella, one of the city's most beloved parks. On the southwest side of the city is Barcelona's Harbour Hill. On top of the hill, we have the Montjuïc Castle. Despite the name, it was never a palace for kings. It was built for military purposes. Today, the fortress functions primarily as a museum site, a historical monument, and a viewpoint. Many visitors reach the top by cable car or by walking through the parks and gardens on the hillside. There are many observation areas of Barcelona, and many say this is the best place to watch the sunsets. Now that you have seen what makes Barcelona one of the most visited cities in Europe, it's time to rank it.
So 4 hours into our trip, we get our welcome to Europe moment. We're at our second stop. We didn't even get to our Airbnb yet. We're at the castle, we're looking at the sunset, and we get back to our car, and I see that our window has been broken into. So my heart sank. I open the door, and first thing I do is my duffel bag was actually in the back seat. I look through it and make sure all my stuff is there, and to my surprise, it's all there. And then I open the front door. I look, Marina's purse is there with all her stuff. That's all there. I open the trunk, my camera gear, all of our luggage is there. So now I'm thinking, did someone just throw a rock at our window? We open the car, there's glass everywhere. So we come to find out, the only thing that was gone from the van was Madeline's purse, our oldest daughter's purse. And thank God that there wasn't much valuable things in there, and all of our stuff that is valuable was still there. Because my first thought was, if my stuff was gone, the trip was over before it even started. Super discouraging. We don't know exactly what to do, and at this point it's already like 6:30. Not sure where to call, where to go. So we decide to go to our Airbnb and figure it out in the morning. And the next morning, I go to the airport, go to the car rental place and ask them, hey, what should I do? They gave me another car. And I asked them, like, is this common here? What should I have been doing? And they said, yes, it's very common. It happens every day, which was not very reassuring. And I asked them, like, because we had a Mercedes van rental, and I asked them, I said, do you guys have something that is not a Mercedes? Maybe it's not as flashy? And they said, no, the only thing they had at that time was a Mercedes, so I took the Mercedes. Later that day, I learned that the Chase travel credit card that we have, that we booked our car rental with, one of the advantages of the credit card is that it has auto rental insurance coverage included as one of the advantages. And that was a huge sigh of relief and gave me complete peace of mind going further into the trip. So obviously learning that, I'm like, I'm never gonna book another car rental without that Chase travel credit card. And I called actually my parents, they were going to Alaska, and my brother-in-law and sister, they were going to Europe. And the first question I asked is, hey, did you book your car rental with a credit card that has auto rental insurance included? Because you will probably need it. For anybody that's traveling that doesn't have one, I will leave a link in the description to the one we have, but definitely make sure you have that. And then the other perk that
I really liked is that it has no
currency exchange fees.
transaction currency exchange fees.
After the break-in, Marina remembered that earlier that day, at the first stop, we went to Tibidabo. Our younger two children fell asleep, so she decided she'd stay in the car with the younger two, and me and the older three kids, and our friends of ours who were there traveling with us, we would all go up, check out the church and the amusement park, and film. And what you saw while we were gone.
So as I was sitting there with the sliding door open, I was sitting on the floor of the car with my legs out. As I'm sitting there, I see a guy just making a beeline straight to our friend's van. And he gets so close to the van, looking this close up to their window of their sliding, what is that called?
The sliding door.
The sliding door of their car. He doesn't see me because of the way we're parked a little bit differently. He doesn't see me, but as he gets so close, he probably in the corner of his eye sees me or senses someone is there, turns, looks at me, just turns right around and walks straight back to the running car that his friend was in and just gets into the running car and just drives off. I thought nothing of it at the time, but later when we had the incident of a break-in, I immediately thought, I was like, is this guy about to break into our friend's car and our car if I wasn't there?
And that was what, an hour into the trip?
Yeah.
So clearly that's an issue.
And he was a very normal, average-looking, middle-aged man. Did not look like a hooligan.
So we became extremely intentional the next day of hiding absolutely everything in sight so people think the car is empty. And I was a lot more intentional looking on the reviews of the parking lots. Like if you looked at the two places where we did stop and have those incidences, you see a whole bunch of people posting pictures of their break-ins and, just shattered glasses and windows everywhere. So this is definitely a problem. We won't dock Barcelona for that incident. We'll try to rate it based on the rest of the experience. And Gaudi's architecture was definitely extremely unique. You don't see anything like it really anywhere else in the world. Overall, the city is pretty neat. Great to see. Very different that, you feel like you're somewhere new. Obviously, we have nothing else to compare it to. So as of right now, it's on the number one spot. I guess we'll have to see how long it lasts there. Well, thanks for watching. And if you'd like to support our journey, subscribe or join our Patreon community. And the next city we're going to be visiting is considered to be the most beautiful city in Europe that most people have never heard of, and also the food capital of Europe.
Until next time, as we journey across the real coast to coast.